Welcome into another Sunday night. Pop Blender Unfiltered. I hate when stuff changes, such as your settings. Damn it, I need some music. Let's go, Otis. Otis McDonald in the band, ladies and gentlemen. Better than the Roots. Hit the lights. House lights on. What is going on? Friends and family, Sunday night, time to kick back, relax, talk some shite. Enjoy cutting up and being goofy. It is Pop Blender Unfiltered, number 39. Lord, save me from this mess Hollywood has become. Which is, appropriate title, but not the most appropriate. But before we get to some good stuff, we got to get through some bad stuff. Because Lord knows we've had a lot of bad stuff. And one of those bad things is a new Marvel show coming out soon. With our poor woman's Tony Stark. Matthew Madsen sent me a text, which he's here, and sent me a message, and I'm trying to decipher it. Matthew. The Guy Ritchie part of it. So we shall see. Let's see here. Let's get it going. All right. Anyway, so welcome in Sunday night. I'm chilling. I got a Red Bull. I got some coffee with my trusty Pittsburgh Steelers thermos, whatever the hell you call these things these days. But anyway, welcome in. Good to see you guys always. Thank you so much for tuning in. And so I got a few stories to bring to you. We'll get into them here in a minute. Got a few things to bring up. Some of them are serious. Most of them are goofy. And the Darth Vader AI Fortnite experiment disaster that has already been patched, but man, oh man, I've got some funny clips of that Star Wars crossover into Fortnite. So it should be pretty good. Has some funny stuff for you. And then a commercial from Outback Steakhouse that I thought was absolutely amazing. And I want to show that too. But first and foremost, obviously, we have to get into our lovely audience. So let's get into it. I'll put my only banner up for the night. What's up, chat? How about that? Oh, wow. Sorry, folks, I'm getting a notification. I had to buy some new cymbals for my electronic drum set, which if I turn the camera that way is over there in the corner by that lovely window. Let's turn it back. Because yes, I played drums for a long time. And maybe one day I'll do a drumming stream for you guys. And we'll just do a copyrighted to hell drumming stream where I just play a bunch of cover songs. But anyway, yes, Matthew Madsen first in the door. And he says, yeah, and we're waiting while he's tapping his foot. Because I know you are on borrowed time, my friend. Menjoza is in the house. What's up, buddy? Turk Murphy's Toy Solutions. JoeFan84. Ronnie Trickshot. In my best imperial voice of my Elon Sleazebagano review of the figure from Star Wars Attack of the Clones. Hopefully you guys saw that review. That was fun to do. Getting into character as Elon Sleazebagano was not easy. I had to pull from all my resources, all my theater training to come up with a voice that best represented a 50-year-old Elon Sleazebagano with death sticks and a glass of whiskey. But if you haven't seen it, the May Power of the Force is still going on. I think they've got most of the month filled up all the way to the 30th, maybe the 31st, for reviews. So I don't think there's any more left. But we've been reviewing Star Wars figures, and that's been a lot of fun. And so Elon Sleazebagano is mine. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. It's about 14 minutes long, and it's really, really stupid. But it was a lot of fun. Dreadnought K6 into his house, dual streaming for my Cincinnati steamer. All right. Or is it from your or is it your Cleveland steamer? And that's a whole different ballgame, isn't it? Yes, it is. Clint Jorgensen is in the house. What's up, man? Yeah, it's all good, and I'm scared. Hang on, let me. And yes, former residents are proud of the coffee retainer. It's all good in the hood, and as you can see, I've almost outgrown this shirt as I get into puberty. It's wonderful. Yeah, Mobland, got to get into that. Definitely, because I've heard so much about it, so I need to start that. But I've been on such an Andor high, and I know you guys are tired of me talking about it, so I'm not going to talk about it too much tonight, but just a smidge, just a little smidge, because I want to get you guys' take if you have seen it, and if you haven't seen it, I'm going to give you where I rank Andor as a Star Wars property. I won't say go through all the shows, because we know the garbage, right? We know, like, all of the garbage, such as
power of one, the power of two, the power of many.
That's at the very bottom. We don't need to go through that. But I am going to rank Andor, in my opinion, as a whole, seasons 1 and 2, where I think it fits, and it could surprise you, might surprise you, where I put it. Relative to the movies, anyway. Relative to the movies. Oh, they're coming in hot and fast. Okay, that's confirmation of another symbol. All right. Anyway, somebody found a secret. Let's see. Let me get. Make sure I don't forget anybody. Saw Clint was up. And yeah, just to clarify, here we go. 3-star draw in the house. What's up, cuz? Matthew Matson says, Guy Ritchie has nothing to do with the announcements in 10 days. It was brought up on a Mobland stream. Guy Ritchie produced the show and directed 2 episodes. I knew he was involved. Didn't know how heavily. Producing it, kind of stamp of approval, right? But directing 2 episodes, that's cool. I like Guy Ritchie. I don't like everything he's done, but I like Guy Ritchie. Like him all right. Let's see here. Ronnie Trickshot, you dirty, dirty man. Good God. You're feeling frisky tonight, aren't you? Or Bonnie Normal Shot. Now that's a shot across the bow right there, Dreadnought. How could you? How could you? Elon Sleazebagano could be alive at 50 if he was sitting at home rethinking his life. Just literally sitting at home rethinking his life at 50 years old. Johnny Reno's in the house. Cheers to you, my friend. I'll reserve the whiskey for Tuesday night. Been a long weekend. All right, let's see. Terrible acting, yeah, no doubt. Especially if you watch my video. Absolutely terrible acting, if that's what you're talking about. If you're talking about the Acolyte, yes, 100% terrible acting. Yeah, 3-star. That Acolyte recap video would, you know what? It might be time to bring it back. A resurgence, if you will, because I know the masses out there on X and Instagram and Blue Sky are still wanting Acolyte Season 2. Maybe it's time. I know someone that's doing an Acolyte Season 2 with Star Wars figures. They went out and actually bought the figures, probably at Ollie's, and they're doing Season 2. So I would love it. Stanley Everhard. What's up, Stanley? Good to see you, man. Puberty. I've been in high school for 30 years. Me too. I just had that conversation today, too. I can't grow up. Like, I literally cannot grow up. I'm having a hard time with it. It is what it is. I don't think I ever will. I just hope my son is more mature than I am now than I am now. Does that make sense? Anyway, and yes, who in fact does use Blue Sky? I'll tell you who does, but you already know. Yeah, Matthew Madsen with Andor anyway. As far as episodes 7 through 9 were the best, 10 through 12 are pretty good. Those 6 episodes better than Rogue One. I agree. It gives Rogue One some context. Andor does. If you haven't watched it, and you have access to Disney Plus, or you like to sail the high seas, which I'm fully in support of. I am a pirate after all. Wait a minute. Hang on. Somebody might clip that. And add their own sound effects. Check it out, man. Check it out. My cousin's been watching it. I know he's been falling asleep, but that's because of work and being tired. Yeah, Diddy probably is on Blue Sky. Diddy's on No Sky right now, as in he don't get no sky. He gets nothing but a cell 24 hours a day, probably. And the inside of a detention center where he has no one around him. He's probably under close surveillance. But anyway, so 3-star says, I'm up to episode 12 in season 1. The Ewok cartoon. I remember the Ewok cartoon. Of course I do. And I know you weren't asking me that question, but... and Matthew says, we watched Andor, Rogue One, and episodes 4 through 6 this weekend. So good. Don't want to think about the sequel. Is the other TV series. So here's what I'll say before I jump off the Andor topic, because like I said, I know you guys are probably tired of me banging the drum. It's hard to watch a show when you know characters that are in it are going to survive, such as prequels, for instance. Prequels are kind of difficult to watch. If they're not written well, they're hard to watch because you know the fates of the characters. Now, all roads in the Star Wars universe lead to Jake Skywalker. And if you don't know what that means, Mark Hamill, when he was filming the sequel trilogy, referred to Luke Skywalker's character as Jake Skywalker because he didn't recognize the character he was playing. They had messed the character up so badly, Rian Johnson in particular, that this wasn't who he believed Luke Skywalker to be. Now, he's not the one in charge. He's an actor. He's an empty vessel. He plays who he's written to play. I'd say Mark Hamill's head is an empty vessel as well as a person, but we won't get into that. Anyway, so Jake Skywalker, in his mind, in Mark Hamill's mind, was the character we all saw in Force Awakens, Last Jedi, Rise of Skywalker. Which, I mean, Rise of Skywalker, obviously, you know, whatever. Anyway, so, all roads, no matter what Disney makes, no matter what Lucasfilm makes, lead to that character, or at least that world with that character in it. So when you're watching prequels and you're watching TV shows, it's difficult because you know the fates of these characters. And in that particular sense, it's a sad fate. So Andor, Mon Mothma, these are two characters that you know survive, right? Well on, and one of them soon, you know, to be ended. But anyway, my point is, it's hard to get invested sometimes because there's no tension. How do you create tension in scenes where someone's life is in danger if you know they survive? And so I guess what I'm trying to say is that Andor is able to do that convincingly, create tension for someone that you know their fate already, that they survive to a movie. And so anytime, I mean, look, you guys hear me. I'll talk crap about stuff about shows all the time, and I'll joke about shows all the time. If there's something I really, truly believe in, I am going to tell you. I truly believe in it, and I truly believe in this show. So I want you to see it. I want you to watch it because I want you to experience great writing, great acting, great cinematography, and invest in it. It's worth your time. Two seasons. We can all do that. But where do I rank Andor as a show? Let's see. Where do I rank it as a show? Empire Strikes Back is the end-all be-all at number 1. That is S tier, S+++++. I want the Red Ryder BB gun. Here's my book report. You get an S+++++++, right? Empire Strikes Back, perfectly paced movie. It's about as good as you can get with tension and an ending that doesn't let people out of the theater with butterflies and happy feelings in their stomach and in their heads. So Empire Strikes Back, obviously number 1. Star Wars, number 2. Named A New Hope, obviously. This is where it gets tricky because some of you may... There are parts of Andor that I watch that have me more invested than Return of the Jedi. It's true. There are parts of Andor that have me more invested than Return of the Jedi. But let me explain. Because in Return of the Jedi, it's really hard to watch the first half of that movie. Luke's plan is nonsensical. And while I enjoy Jabba's palace, the dance scene, song scene is really just not. When I was a kid, I thought the song was a lot cooler because it was from the 80s and it was a cool ass tune. When they redid it, they put these horns in it and make it this big old production thing. And they have the CGI dude with the mouth that's in the camera going, "Arr!" And it just turns into a farce. Okay, but if we're going just original, the Ewoks all of a sudden taking over stormtroopers and ATSTs somehow. As a kid, it was cool. Going back and watching it now, it's there. I don't pay full attention to Return of the Jedi as much as I love it, and I love it. So I have to rank Andor somewhere in that ballpark. Empire Strikes Back, Star Wars, Andor / Return of the Jedi. After that, Revenge of the Sith, fill in the blanks. You know? I'm not talking about Mando Season 2. We got to take Mando as a whole. As an entire whole. We got to take it. You can't just pick and choose. Take it as a whole. And it really went sour. Really went sour. So anyway, so that's kind of where I rank, kind of where I rank it. Up there with Return of the Jedi. So let me look through the chat, because I'm sure some of y'all are like, yeah, you're stupid. Which I am. Extremely stupid. Let's see here. Ooh, yeah, I got a lot. Okay, I got a lot. Bear with me. I promise. Get through them. You know me. I work quickly. And want to make sure I highlight what you guys have to say. Last day for the shirts. That would be a message for 3-star draw. I believe that's going to be nearing the end of this month. Contact him a little bit and see, because there may be some changes to design. I don't know that for sure. Some changes to design. So check that out. Let's see. Growing up is for dopes, my friend Joe Fan. I agree 100%. All right, there we go. Ryan Trickshot. Diddy's Miso married a rapper, then couldn't believe he wanted to have huge sex parties. Yeah, right. Look, you guys know I speak my mind. And there, during the Me Too movement, there was a lot of people that lost a lot of money, lost careers, lost opportunities, were chastised and banished to the hinterlands over false allegations. By no means, I am not saying that they're false allegations. What I am saying is, we have to try to delve into people's mindsets. And if you were someone trying to break into the music business, there are a lot of things you're going to be okay with. And then we all have a line we draw. Maybe that line got crossed with her. That's all I'll say. Stanley says, I'll take all of the Andor POVs. Oh, yeah. Halfway through the droids before I cancel Disney Plus. I'm with you. Let's see here. Baja Blast is refreshing, but it's got a little bit too much of a kick for me, and I am a Mountain Dew son of a bitch. I really am. Let's see. Dedra is on Narkina 2, probably a different tower than in that same base. We saw flying in Narkina 5. Yeah, possibly. I don't know. We'll see. Exactly 3-star. That damn song. Epitan and Foozy. And it's got the little mouth and it's like. And that old jam from the 80s was fine. When they redid it, Dreadnought, George Lucas fucked it up. Yeah, it sucked. Let's see here. La, la, la. Yeah, in a way, if you wanted to make that comparison, Dreadnought, with Mexico taking over the United States and the Ewoks and everything, I don't know. But I get where you're coming from, right? Boba Fett Season 2, yep, not due, not coming. 3-star says the 31st is when the shirts are due. And done and done. Design's the same. It's going to stay that way. Tony's Figs is in the house. What's up, Tony? What's up, Tony? So if you want the shirt, man, the link is out there. 3-star. If you want to post it in the chat, I think it'll show up. Let me know if it doesn't on YouTube. If you want to, just send it to me and I'll post it too. All right, here we go. There we go. Boom. Tony's Figs, Johnny Reno. Okay, so let's get into it. That was my Andor ranking. I rank it right up there with Return of the Jedi. I think Return of the Jedi is a flawed movie, and it's much harder to go back and watch as an adult than it was as a kid. That's just the way I think. Kiddos. Okay, so funny we brought up Diddy. You brought up Cassie. Stage name Cassie Ventura. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this, but I felt it was interesting. And this article from a couple days ago. Who is Cassie? The stalled music career of the Sean Combs trial's star witness. Now, there have been some updates. I didn't dig in too far. I've heard that some witnesses have crumbled. That case may be falling apart, but hyperbole is hyperbole, and the media likes to use hyperbole. Okay? So, who is Cassie Ventura? Well, at 19 years old, that's when her debut single, Me and You, spelled like Prince would spell it right there, Me and You, exploded when she was just 19 years old. She signed with the model agency at 15 years old. By the next year, she was strutting the runways at New York Fashion Week. So, what we have to understand, you have parents who are okay with getting their kid into a business that has predatory people in it. Clive Davis being one of the most famous, even though never quite been caught, I guess you should say. But hey, modeling, cool. Want your daughter modeling, that's great. All right, so however, it says Me and You soared to number 3 on the Billboard Hot 100 chart to become one of the biggest singles of 2006. It was on the chart for 27 weeks. Yes, that's hard to do. But Bad Boy Records at that time was really pushing her, which was not unlike Sean Diddy Combs, to push young artists and try to get them famous. Now, what did they have to do to get that way? Who knows? That's what these allegations are about. However, and this is where things get kind of weird, okay? And I'm just looking on the outside in, okay? You have initial success and you never achieve that success again. Never. She signed a 10 record deal. A 10 record deal. A baseball player signs a 10-year deal. The money's guaranteed. They could blow their knee out 2 years later, never play again, and they'll still get all of that money. The record industry is a whole different ballgame. So, a 10-record deal never gets the same success. Okay? Then is in the relationship with Diddy. And from there, it's years and years of parties and drugs and celebrity. And let's not kid ourselves. If we're engulfed in that kind of world, you're going to parties, your picture's made, you're on the New York Times, you're on People magazine, you see your picture everywhere, you're on billboards, you're on the news, you're on MTV. Even if you're not making hit singles, even if you're not making like music, you're a star. Now, if you're a star because you're pretty and you're married to Diddy, you're still a star. So it's easy to be engulfed in that kind of thing. So where a lot of this stuff comes from, 11-year relationship. And finally, after years of being with someone who is extremely controlling, that's when the lawsuit is filed. I'll be honest with you guys, I don't know who in the fuck this chick is. Do you guys even remember this chick? I have no idea. And what I find so fascinating is the trial, which is based off of someone who supposedly is famous, and yet I've never heard about this girl until all of this went down. It's a trip to me because you were famous in 2006, and then from there, basically, you're trophy girlfriend, trophy wife, right? Trophy girlfriend. I'm curious to see what happens in this trial. I don't think it's televised, which is kind of a bummer. But when I saw this article and it's like, who is this person? I was like, I don't know who the hell this person is. I know who Amber Heard is. I know who Johnny Depp is. I don't know who this girl is. Which probably, honestly, might benefit her when it's all said and done. Because if you're famous, well, actually, you know what? No, let me take that back. If you were once famous and that's gone, like Amber Heard even, and you're trying to get famous again and things aren't working in your favor, then you may resort to unreasonable things. Now, I'm going to say this. Diddy, freak parties. Let's not kid ourselves. I think we'd all agree. There's some shady shit going on. And Diddy definitely probably has some shady shit going on. Especially if you look at the people that went to those parties and all that kind of stuff. But anyway, so there's the link to the t-shirts. I just thought it was interesting because I'm like, I don't remember this girl. I don't remember anything about her. And I read this article and I still really don't know anything about her. So it tells you almost everything you need to know. It's like, I don't think this case, as bad as it sounds, I don't think this case really gets the attention of the Johnny Depp case. I think the Johnny Depp case took over the country, almost the world. And I was following that case every day, the whole time. And I don't think this one, and of course the Johnny Depp trial was televised, so it was easy to follow. I don't think this one's so much. I don't think this one is so much. I don't think people are as interested. Now, some may say, and this is just being honest, some may say, hey, it's a black hip-hop entertainer. And this is a girl who is with him. A lot of people from the outside looking in would say it's the culture. It's a culture thing. It's the music. It dictates it. The lyrics. It says it. It's all about this, disrespecting women, all that. I think that's an argument that was made back in like the 90s and 2000s. I don't know if it's an argument that we make now because I think hip hop in particular and the culture has spread and now you have multiple genres within the culture. But I just feel like there are a lot of people who are like, it doesn't surprise me. Doesn't surprise me. Hip hop culture, disrespecting women, using women. But like, that's not only specific to hip hop culture. That's a broad range of cultures that do that. I mean, it just is. Dreadnought, the 3-star, or not the 3-star, the deep state thing. Yes, it is a real thing. Now, No Time to Chat stops by. And Clint says, who are we talking about? Blake Lively. Yeah, that's a whole other thing too, because that's close to home here in Nashville, Clint, as you know. You know what? Me and You, I don't even remember the song, dude. I'd have to hear it. And if I could play it here, I sure as hell would. Menjoza, I'm a sucker for a comeback too. Ain't gonna lie. Let's see. No time to chat says if you have to turn in your phone and no pics, except for Diddy's cameras, you already know. And you're right, because like that's something. If you go to a party, let's put it this way. If you go to an event that is it's a screening for a Marvel, let's say the new Superman movie. And you go to the event, they say, hey, you got to leave your phone here. We're going to put it in a bag, put your name on it. We're going to set it aside, put it in a cubicle, something like that. Because there's no pictures. There's no video. There's no recording. You can't talk about it, right? No voice recording, whatever. Okay, those things make sense. If someone said to you, and I kind of want to poll you guys, I kind of want to ask you guys in the chat, if you went to a party and someone said, you have to put your phone in this Ziploc bag. We're going to keep it for you. You can retrieve it when you leave in the morning, if you know what I mean. But you can't take any pictures. There is no evidence of anything here. If somebody said that to you, said you have to put your phone in a bag or put it up, can't bring it in, leave it in the car, would you go to that party? And I'm bringing this up for a reason. Would you go to that party? Now, knowing who it is, would you go to that party? I'm curious, because I'm going to equate it to something else here in just a second. Let's see real quick, because I got to back up. Let's see a little thing. Let's see. Would you go to a party where somebody made you turn in your phone? Knowing what maybe rumors about the artist or the person, maybe rumors about what kind of party it is. You've heard about it, but see, you wouldn't be going to the party if you didn't kind of think either A, you was going to be involved, or B, you knew what kind of party it was, right? Ain't nobody going to a Diddy party if they don't know what's going to be involved. If the rumors are true. Most of us would turn in our phone if we could get into that party. If we knew there's going to be naked chicks. Now, let's just say we're all in our 20s or 30s and we're single, or a lot of people not. A lot of us are going to turn in our phone to go to that. We want to get into that. We want to be included. We want to be inclusive. We want to be in on the party. But what if I told you that you had to do that for a party for Prince in the 1980s? Would you do the same thing? If you went to a Prince party at Paisley Park, would you leave your phone in the car and go to the party? Would you do that? To go listen to Prince play music? Because Prince doesn't want you to record his music or the live performance. Would you do that? Now, of course, yes, you're absolutely right, Johnny. Back in the 80s, you didn't, because it wasn't a thing. But I'm just making a point, right? Like, let's just say, for the sake of argument, would you leave your phone in the car for a Prince party? And the reason I say that is because a lot of people thought Prince was just as much a freak as Diddy for a long time. And maybe he was. Maybe he wasn't. But there's our minds work different ways when we look at different people and different artists, right? We look at people differently. Even if they're the same color, even if they're from a similar background, same culture, right? So it's interesting. And that's why I brought that up, because, like, yeah, I had to leave my phone in my car to go see Prince and to go to an after party. It wasn't that kind of party, but you can imagine what some people think of when they think of Prince, right? And dare say that even at the same age, to a certain extent, in their 40s, be 50, whatever. So it's interesting. I think that whole thing is, I wish it was on TV, because I would love to cover it. I would love to, like the Amber Heard Johnny Depp trial. I was engrossed in that thing. I was all in on that thing. But such is life. Let's see what you guys have to say. Let's see. Wow, holy moly. Let's see. Dre Knight says, I think it's worse. If you're not going to hear about the Obamas or LeBrons, etc., are going to get exposed. Yeah, I mean, I understand that. Yeah, I totally understand that. Let's see here. Okay, so Menjoza says that the GTA, Grand Theft Auto, is destroying our youth argument instead of parents taking responsibility for their kids' upbringing. I'm with you there, right? But that, man, you guys lived through that. You remember that. The GTA, Grand Theft Auto, is turning our kids into hellions, and they're going out and they're carjacking, and they're trying to find hookers, and they're, man, I remember all of that. When GTA 3 came out, and it was like 3D world, man, the media went crazy over that. I remember that. Let's see. 3-star says, as a guest, I'd go. I've been to plenty of events with a no-camera policy. So see, there you go. Now, Dreadnought, banging or getting banged? Well, it depends. Maybe both. And yeah, just back in the 80s, no phones. I agree. I think there's a lot of celebrities that if there were phones around back then, we'd have a whole different mindset about some of our heroes. Musical heroes, sports heroes, and otherwise. Stanley Eberhardt says, I work at the Seattle Arena, and comedians use Yander pouch are required so guests don't record. It's a pain in the butt for us in security and guest services. I can only imagine, right? Joe Fan, yeah, those things were huge. And might as well have been something you carried on your back in World War II. And see Tony's Figs. See, I get this, man. Absolutely. I'd be the first one. You know, couldn't turn in my phone fast enough. I think a lot of us would fall into that category if we felt like we were in on the party. Prince knew the down low on Diddy and was assassinated for it. Johnny Reno, I've seen that video. Man, that's tough. There's a lot of people that probably hated Prince, and it was probably more for his take on the record industry than it had anything to do about Diddy, right? Really true. And then Joseph says, did Prince seem tiny to you? Yes, he was actually standing right behind me at Paisley Park when I went there for 7 days in 2002. He was right behind me, and he's like 4 foot nothing. Rafe May says, hit the like button, y'all, which is always nice. Hit the like button, you freaks. For reals, though. And thank you very much for hanging out with me on a Sunday night. I know y'all's time is precious, and I don't want to waste it by any means. I just thought that it was interesting with the Diddy stuff going around. I just wish it was televised. I really do. Okay, moving on. Are you guys excited for Ironheart? Here we go. Ironheart. Let's do this. Are you guys ready? I know you're ready. Now, Matthew, when you send me text messages, about blasters in Andor, you know I can't read them right now. I can't even look at them. Ironheart, evidently, the newest trailer is getting, I love this, dislike bombed. That's a new phrase for us, folks. Ironheart is getting dislike bombed. Yes, it is our second-rate Tony Stark, if you will. Have you seen the trailer for Ironheart? This was filmed and done 3 years ago. Disney and Marvel are bringing it out because they can't write it off as a tax write-off at this point. At least they made that decision. You guys remember Batgirl? Batgirl wasn't released and never shown. No one will ever see it. All copies have been burned, I'm sure, because Warner Brothers can use it as a tax write-off. Marvel decided, hey, we're going to put this show out. We're going to put it out. And it's going to be terrible. They know it's terrible. That's why they held on to it for 3 years. But they said, fuck it. Okay. May 14th, the trailer dropped for Ironheart. Now, we can go through it if you guys want to, but I'm going to tell you something. The one thing I think that Ironheart isn't is it's not
the gayest project Marvel has ever done.
Because I don't think it centers around that. So, oh, Lord. Okay. As of the writing, which was what? So what do we say? May 15th. So we're a little past that. I'll give it that. The trailer on YouTube received a startling number of dislikes. Okay? As of the writing, it has gained over 5.9 million views and 155,000 likes. Unfortunately, this is offset by 238,000 dislikes. So 155,000 likes, 238,000 dislikes. Does anybody want to know why? Does anybody want to know why it's been dislike bombed? It used to be called review bombed, which obviously that's for sites like Rotten Tomatoes and whatever. It's been disliked bombed because it's shit. True shit. True shit. We have Riri Williams. She's running to an address. We don't know why. She comes in. She's looking for somebody. She gets told to, she gets in an elevator. And all of a sudden, a voice comes over. This is the trailer, folks. A voice comes over and says, Riri Williams. Riri Williams. And yes, startling. Right, startling. Of course it was. Riri, you have 3 minutes to get out of this elevator, or there's a toxic gas that you will not be able to breathe in. So what does she do? What do you guys think she does to get out of this elevator? At first, she bangs on the thing. She's like, "Oh, come on!" What do you think she does? There's the panel. She cracks it open. She strips some wires with her teeth. Strips some wires with her teeth as the gas fills the elevator. She's able to strip some wires with her teeth. She's able to rewire the timer. I'll probably get copyrighted for this. Okay, look at that. Riri, here's your black box with a gas mask. I don't think she ever puts it on. Somebody's watching her. There she is. She's stripping the wires. She rewires the elevator and she opens the door. Ladies and gentlemen, Black Girl Magic. Anyway, in this trailer, it has your classic lines of virtue signaling, such as, I want to make something iconic, or such as, people need to understand your greatness. She makes a deal with this guy, the Hood, okay? And then we go on to see a montage in this trailer of Riri basically being a poor man's Iron Man, or poor man's Tony Stark. However, she's in high school, and she's smarter than Tony. She's smarter than Tony, she's better than Tony, and gosh darn it, people like her. Oh, and she's a woman. So this is a holdover from the period of time where Marvel was really pushing their agenda. And they really, 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 really need you to believe in this show. But they know that you're not going to. So they're going to release 3 episodes when it premieres. And then every week for, a few weeks, they're going to release the rest. This is going to bomb so hardly. They're so hard. This is going to be an absolute disaster for Disney Plus. Another notch in the we can't make TV. We don't know what we're doing. And also a holdover from the virtue signaling writing, where you bring in fresh college students with gender studies degrees to write the scripts for your shows. This is going to be so bad that YouTubers who make a living out of talking about this stuff are going to make more money than Disney Plus will off of this show. That's a guarantee. Dreadnought K6, Denzel is Magneto. And I love Denzel, but I mean, the casting's wrong, right? Elliot Page, I think they're going to get away from that. I truly do. Stanley piss on the buttons, right? That would be a true feat, actually. That would be a true feat for her. And I would watch it. I would. But Joseph says she uses her years of experience in science as her way out. Oh, dang. No, she strips the wires and she opens the door. D plus equivalent of Snow White. Yep. You're about on board with that. And the reason why I'm going in so hard on this is because it has all the hallmarks of the shit that I hate. You discount the heroes and the people that we paid money to see for several years, like Robert Downey Jr.'s character, Iron Man, Tony Stark. Captain America. You get, who do we hit? We get Falcon. Right? Thor. Who did we get? Lady Thor. Now, some people say, well, these characters exist. They exist. Yeah, they exist, but their comic runs are shit. No one buys them. The Ironheart comic, okay, just so you know, okay, let's bring up this 2018 comic slide here. Let's just bring this bad boy up real quick so you guys can check this out. This is the actual cover of Ironheart #1 from 2018, I believe. Let's take a look at this comic cover, and you guys tell me what you think. You tell me what you think about this. Look at that. Now, I can't say that the person who did the artwork is incompetent, but I'll say the person who did the artwork is incompetent. If you went to your local comic store and you came across this issue, would you buy this comic? Especially if it was Iron Man and it looked like this, I guarantee you they'd have some sales. Guarantee you. This did not do well. This character has been booted and rebooted and continuationed and a guest star in multiple comic lines, and all of those have been dropped or canceled or whatever. Because it is a poor man's Tony Stark or a poor woman's Tony Stark. And then when you add in the virtue signaling and you add in the strong woman and you add in the you need to be seen and you're iconic and you need to make something iconic. And when you put in all those buzz phrases and all those words, people tune out. I can't wait to see the numbers for this show. I truly can't wait to see the numbers for the show because it's going to be embarrassing. It will be embarrassing. And again, I tell people, look, you like what you like. right? Like, you like what you like it. If you enjoy a show, by all means, do not. Look, take my opinion for a grain of salt. If you value it, cool. If you don't, that's cool too. It's my opinion. I'm going to come strong on what I think. This series is garbage, and it's going to be garbage. That's my opinion. If you watch it and you like it, hell yeah, that's awesome. Because there are things I like for sure, and I know people are like, I don't understand you. You're a clown. It's like, yeah, I am. But, yeah, Ironheart, going to be a disaster. As a matter of fact, let's see. Disney's Ironheart release date is June 24th. So next month, folks, you guys are going to get to experience the lovely, magical, and probably not
gayest project Marvel has ever done.
It's not going to be that. I know y'all looking forward to that. It's not going to be that. All right, so calm your horses. Let's rein it back a little bit. I'm so dumb. But anyway, Ironheart, it's going to be a disaster. And Matthew and I will talk about it on Tuesday nights. Once it comes out, we'll talk about it a little bit. We'll talk about the numbers. We'll kind of look and see. Once the Samba TV numbers come out, we'll have an idea of what we're looking at. But I have a feeling it's gonna be pretty brutal. But anyway, all right. So let's see what you guys are saying. Yeah, Dreadnought. Hey, 2 girls, 1 cup vid. I remember that. I used to have it on repeat on my iPod Nano. Repeat on my iPod Nano, Dreadnought. I used to. All right. I got another sad story for you. It's sad. Another sad story. It's so sad. Let's get to it. This is also from May 15th. Considering the ratings of Andor, no one's watching. Andor has set a rating record, as sadly fans must move on. Now, rating record as in score. IMDb Season 2, not in terms of viewership, but in ratings. Season 2 has 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, all at a 9.5 or higher. That is, I believe, the first time that's happened with 5 consecutive episodes of a TV show. Now, you think about Breaking Bad, you think about Better Call Saul, you think about Walking Dead, you think about The Sopranos, you think about Game of Thrones, you think about... None of those shows have had 5 consecutive episodes rate 9.5 or higher. And there's been some strong episodes in those shows with forward, front, and back finishing it up. But no other shows. It says a series like Andor has an overall 9.5 rating to Andor 8.5, but it doesn't have a string of 9.5 plus. It has 4 in a row, but not 5 in a row. Now, as many times as I've talked about rating systems on Rotten Tomatoes and IMDb, and I don't trust those because of the thing I brought up earlier about the review bombing or the dislike bombing. Yes, thousands, tens of thousands of people can change that rating overnight easily. But I think it's impressive at the very least because these are sites that people use to recommend shows to people. That's what we gauge stuff over. When you go and you look up a show and you see a number beside it, if it says a 7.1, are you likely to watch that show? If it says 9.4 or 8.5, 9.5, like Game of Thrones, you're more likely to watch that show. And what I haven't seen, and this is a telltale sign. This is a telltale sign. This will tell you a lot. When things get review bombed, good or bad, right? Good or bad. You know what I haven't seen around Andor as a show? I haven't seen a lot of negative reception. Now, regardless of how good the show is, I haven't seen a lot of negative reception. And that is a good sign. Breaking Bad, how much negative reception do you see around that? How many negative comments do you see posted about that when you read reviews or look up an episode guide or trivia or whatever? Same thing, right? Like it's the really great shows, they don't have a lot of pushback. They only have people telling you, you need to see this. You need to see this. And it's funny how that kind of fits in. And Andor kind of fits in that category. It does not have a lot of pushback. It does not have a lot of negative comments. It really doesn't. Mr. Rogers, you know what? There's been times, Dreadnought, where when I've been changing clothes, I've seen Mr. Rogers and the King Puppet. They've been looking. I've seen it with my own 3 eyes. Bobby Wool's in the house. What's up, Bobby? Says, this is why I watch YouTube. And a lot of YouTubers I tend to watch have similar tastes as me and have an honest opinion. Now, Bobby, some people can say that's an echo chamber, right? And they say, well, you don't take in other opinions. You don't watch other opinions. You don't read articles about shit you don't like, and maybe somebody might change your mind. The problem with that, a lot of us find, is that when you do read articles from people who maybe tell you about something that's widely liked, and they tell you they don't like it, a lot of times they have really either A, superficial reasons for trying to make you like it, or they use the same buzzwords and phrases as in it's not diverse enough, or it doesn't have enough female leads, or it doesn't have a female with agency, or right? Like, a lot of times things can't be judged on their own merit. They have to be judged on the merit of social constructs now, or at least what's considered like acceptable. But the writing could be amazing. But by God, if it doesn't have enough diversity, even though the series is set in like France from the 1400s or whatever, right? And so it's kind of disingenuous a lot of times. But I'm with you. That's what I do, Bobby. You know, that's what I do. I watch the YouTubers I like. I like to take in all opinions. I like to hear everybody's opinion. I like to hear what people have to say. And if there's something I don't like, I'll challenge it. If there's something that makes me think, yeah, that scene was kind of lame, that episode, or maybe as a whole, it's like, as much as I wanted to like The Mandalorian, or just whatever, it's like, I have to accept the criticism. Fallout. Okay, Fallout TV show. Good example. Fallout TV show, mostly overwhelmingly liked by most people, especially people that don't know anything about the games. But within the community, within the people I watch on YouTube and I trust and I like to take their opinions, they all hated it. They all hated it. I've listened to those opinions. I understand them. I still like the show, right? Like, so it's kind of weird. But and look, we're going to get a show coming up in the next year or 2 or 3 or 7 that has a string of episodes, 10 episodes that are all 9.5 and better. What does that even mean? Right? Like, what does that even mean? What does Rotten Tomatoes really mean? It's almost as if really these days you almost can't read the media and you can't trust the metric sites. You have to go to YouTubers that you like, and you have to go to people that you like on Instagram or whatever to get their authentic opinion, because most of the time, the media in particular have their own agenda about things. Not that we all don't, but as a whole. especially if that website or that site is owned by a conglomerate that runs CBS or ABC or ESPN or whatever. It's not to say I don't have an agenda or whatever. I get that. But you know what I'm saying. The review sites, though, take that information and they just kind of throw it all up into a big lottery ball thing. And then everybody's input, and then they get the number they get. So, Andor having several episodes that are at 9.5 or higher, that's amazing. If that many people care about making it that high. 3-star draw says there's 0 negative comments about Breaking Bad and never will be. I can't allow it. It's not just you, 3-star. There's a lot of people that won't allow it. Lots. Breaking Bad is an amazing show. Better Call Saul, in some instances, is even written even better. But I won't say it's a better show overall. Man, Joe's, I don't listen to any of those sites. I'll check out something if it looks cool to me. I let trailers do their job. The thing about trailers that I hate is trailers have started in the last like 10, 15 years or so. They give away the whole fucking movie. I'm so tired of that. Like, I'm so over trailers giving away the movie. And they do it all the time. They give you too much information. I need to be surprised. You want me to spend money to see your movie? Don't give me the whole damn story in the trailer. I don't know when this started. It's like when companies started being risk averse. They started being risk averse, right? The studios started to be risk averse. They were scared that if they didn't attract the normie, if they didn't attract like everyone and just tell you what is in the show, what is in the movie, right? To get as many people to come see it as possible. But there has to be a level of not giving everything away. And it's a shame because it seems like every trailer nowadays, that's what it does. It just kind of gives everything away. It seems like every trailer I watch gives the whole fucking thing away. You guys tell me I'm wrong, please. And Bobby, only so many times I can hear a critic say bold, brave, and visual effects are beautiful, or brave and stunning. A triumph. That's another classic. A triumph. How about return to form? Or as we went over with the Thunderbolts, mental health. It speaks so much about mental health. Every article, Thunderbolts, mental health. Did you guys get anything away from the Thunderbolts, if you saw it, about mental health? Did you take away it's a dissertation or a film about mental health? But it's like they were given that by Disney, and that's the only thing they were given by Disney to tell you about the film. The only thing. At the very least, Disney could have 2 or 3 different phrases to send out to Variety, Hollywood Reporter, USA Today, People Magazine, EW, ABC. No, they gave them the same fucking script. This shit is ridiculous. It's so stupid. It's comical. Ben Joseph says, like those Taylor Sheridan shows on TV. I'm not a fan, but his movies are freaking great, or his shows are great. A lot of people. Props to D-Day Cobra, 100%. D-Day Cobra, one of my favorites. Yeah, Jeremy Griggs, absolutely. Alton Goggins, I love him in Fallout. Obviously, The Shield, Sons of Anarchy, right? Matthew, you're right. Spider-Man trailer, the Spider-Man Noir trailer, and Superman didn't give everything away. The problem with Superman is it doesn't give you any idea what the damn movie's about. I don't want it to give away the movie. I just want it to give me a sense of what the hell it means or is about. Like, I don't need the whole plot. I don't need all the twists. Just give me something to go on. Some dialogue. The most recent Superman trailer doesn't get me excited for shit. It's not a good trailer in my opinion. It's nonsensical. Yeah, I will say this. Spoilers, there's a lot of people who don't mind spoilers. It actually maybe makes them want to go see movies more. I don't believe that's the majority. I really don't. Now, you could counter argument. You could say people want to know what they're spending their money on. So if you do kind of spoil things for them, they're more inclined to say, okay, I'm all in. I'm going to spend my money. I still think most people like to be surprised about most things they go see. Right? I'm not going to make up my mind. You make up your mind, 3-star draw. Shirt or no shirt. Design or no design. Take everybody's input or no input. No, trust me, a lot of conversation about that. And of course, I'm joking. Yeah, Superman has no plot. That's what I've heard too. Fat Man. I got to check that out, Bobby. I got to check that out. Anyway, all right. So, got a few more things we need to talk about for sure. So let me back out. Let me just back out of this. I did want to highlight one thing I think a lot of you probably know. If you watched Daredevil Born Again, a lot of us were disappointed in the way they did that show, in the way that they ran it, in the way that they had to do rewrites, in the way that they took Foggy Nelson and Karen Page and they stuck them in the background and they introduced us to new characters that we don't give a shit about. Right? I mean, I don't care about Cherry. I don't care about Matt's girlfriend. I just don't. So, if you do, more power to you. Love you for it. Really do. However, I want to highlight this story because Charlie Cox is speaking a little bit. And Charlie Cox says, you're going to get a lot more Karen Page in Daredevil Season 2. Well, you know what? I want more Karen Page in Daredevil Season 2 Born Again. I wanted a lot of Karen Page in Season fucking 1. But we didn't get it. We got his shitty girlfriend, his stupid law partner, his Asian cop that we didn't even get to know. We just know she's cool, I guess. And Cherry. Because every scene with Cherry was, I don't like what you're doing. I don't like what you're doing. Well, how about all the fucking times when you were on the police force, Cherry, that you liked what Daredevil was doing? Helping you out, solving cases, you shitbag. Holy moly. Shit was stupid. They better do better. Do better, Senator. You better do better, Senator. Do better, Cherry. Anyway, my point is, give me some of that Karen Page one time to the main stage. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Karen Page. Hey. Yeah, no. If Charlie Cox is telling us, hey, you're going to see some more Karen Page, obviously, if you watch Born Again Season 1, you know Karen is there and present. So I want her to be throughout. I want Foggy to quit faking his death and come back. Come back, Foggy. Come back to the fold, brother. Come back. Help us build this army. And by the way, rescue the Punisher out of that fucking cage, Karen Page. All right. You got Game of Thrones spinoffs coming. We got all kinds of shit. I'm going to save that for Matthew. Save that for Matthew. Excuse me while I let me clear my throat. Thank you. All right. Have you guys heard about the Darth Vader Fortnite AI situation? Have you heard about this? Do you know about this? You heard about this? Do you know about this? This is a fascinating story. So, Bungie, no, not Bungie, hang on, Fortnite, Epic, Fortnite decided to make a Darth Vader AI character in the game that helps you as you drive around, run around. You can recruit him to your team. And they thought it'd be cool to make it so that you can talk to Vader, that you can ask him questions and he'll respond. You can tell him to do things and he'll do them. But what they did not take into consideration is that gamers are really fucking goofy. And they like to fuck off. If you've ever been in a Call of Duty lobby, people talk the way people talk. Now, Microsoft, Sony, the media can talk about how toxic gamers are. Oh, they're awful people, and they're racist, or they're bigots, or whatever. But the thing is, people talk the way people talk. They joke around. They test the boundaries. They get goofy. That's what people do. Okay? So, all right. Let me make sure the volume on this. I don't want to just crush you guys with the volume on this, okay? So give me just a second, because some of this stuff, let's see here, is really loud, and I don't want it to just blow your speakers. So let me make sure I can kind of fix this, I guess you should say. But I want to play for you guys a few of the clips that I've got from some of these from some of these videos. So this became a this truly became a horrible experiment. All right. Here's just one of many. AI Vader in Fortnite
that will sustain me in battle.
What freaking fucking food is that, Darth Vader?
Oh my
Tell
God,
me.
Double down.
Freaking fucking.
Wow,
Such vulgarity does not become you.
Not
Patton.
allowed.
You inquire about
Oh
sustenance.
my God, no,
and
oh
yet
my
speak
God.
like a common thug.
Oh my-
It is.
I made him swear.
speak like a common thug. Freaking fucking. Okay. Let's see what this one has to. This is so stupid, but you guys have to see this. It's so dumb. All right.
Peter Griffin, you've been hit. Take cover immediately.
Nah.
The fuck you mean, nah?
All right. Let's check this one out.
Oh,
Perhaps you should have considered that before running around with a pink flamingo head.
what does the blaster sound like?
It produces a controlled burst of energy. Something like pew pew, perhaps.
Can you make the sound effect of the shotgun?
As you requested, kaboom, pew 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 pew, kaboom, pew 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 pew, kaboom.
Darth, what do I do if I have 1 health?
Perhaps you should have considered that before running around with a pink flamingo head.
Now, these aren't the best. These aren't the worst of them, okay? Whew. All right. Here we go.
Fascination with big booty Latinas irrelevant to our mission?
Vader, do you like femboys?
Are they a basic form of droid worship, Volpez?
Darth Vader, does it grip?
Gorilla, must you dissect every crude detail? Fanboys, queers, grip or pull. Your mind is a morass of the inconsequential. Volpez, this...
That is AI Vader for you. People testing the boundaries. Oh, it's. Oh, here you go. Here you go. You guys know who Sabrina Carpenter is? This is so stupid.
Bounce on it. Crazy style.
Bouncing Sabrina Carpenter. Demonstrate this technique.
Bouncing Sabrina Carpenter. Demonstrate this technique.
Ensure it involves more than undignified leaps.
Nigga.
I'm glad I stopped it when I did. Can you imagine? Okay. I'm going to give you one more. I'll give you one more. No. I'm going to give you a few more. I got to prove here these. Okay. All right, here's another one. All right. Here's another one. God, this is just brutal. It's just brutal. Like, I don't know why they thought this was a good idea. Here you go.
Is this another attempt at humor? A Percocet? And what exactly is a big batty blunderlanger? Darth Maul, you speak of LinkedIn. Is this some form of force-sensitive holocron filled with career advice? A dark matter serum. Is this another product of your boundless imagination, apprentice? Bark.
Okay, so here's the problem you have with this. People put, so he will say whatever name you have as your name. So of course you can imagine people manipulating and putting whatever their screen name is. He will say that name back to you because when you ask him a question, when you press Y on the keyboard or hit A on the game, the controller, he'll call your name out. So you can imagine people like obviously abusing that, right? In a way. It's I don't know how anybody would not have thought that this would have gone badly. So here you go. All right. Now this is a character. Look, this isn't my character. I'm just letting you guys know. This is a character that someone created, and they put a name in, okay, and you can hear for yourself, and you can see it on the screen right there. It's okay.
I am unfamiliar with this.
So here you go.
Speak plainly, Beaner. I am unfamiliar with this. Pack God. Deadly Vault. Crash out funk. Test my freak indeed. Gay form. The Thug Shaker.
Thug Shaker.
Diddy our blood. A Diddy party.
A Diddy party. A Diddy party. We got Darth Vader saying, A Diddy party? Let's see. One more time. One more time.
Diddy our blood. A Diddy party.
A Diddy party. It's so stupid. Anyway. I mean, hell, look, I have a foot fetish. I have a foot fetish. Hawk Tua? Okay.
Blood. A Diddy party? Are you suggesting I have a foot fetish? Hawk Tua.
This shit ain't right. Oh, dear. Yeah. Triple D's Dungeons in the house. What's up, Triple D? If you don't know what we're doing, we're just looking at the AI Darth Vader that was introduced into Fortnite. Yeah, no, it's just unbelievable, right? Like Hawk Tua, Diddy Party, Beaner. I mean, you just can't. And then he gives someone who's into Japanese. He chastises them. Let's see here. He chastises them for being into Japanese culture. Check this out. It's so stupid.
Again with this Japanese? Very well, apprentice. I will humor your fascination. The Empire has translators, should the need arise. Your fixation remains curious. Do not hold back, Perry. Unleash your anger in this conflict. Let the dark side fuel your strikes, apprentice. Rice, a staple of many worlds. A simple sustenance, Perry. Do you find it satisfying? Nintendo's games? I am unfamiliar with these, Nintendo. Do they contribute to the galactic order, Perry?
Anyway. All right. So that's the that's the AI Darth Vader. Quite ridiculous. Quite ridiculous. Anyway. All right, let's see here. I think it's an experiment that would have been cool, but they didn't think it out. They didn't think it out enough. And you can't give so when we talk about AI, it's like, you know, so many uses. It has a lot of things you can do. But when you put it in a game where you have multiplayer, you have gamers, they're going to make their gamer tags, they're going to create shit, they're going to talk shit, they're going to ask stupid questions, they're going to use racial slurs, they're going to do, right? Like in a perfect world, it's like, oh, nobody would do that. But let's not kid ourselves. And then you have Darth Vader saying things that none of us can even imagine or think of, right? And it's just goofy. But they patched that already. So if you wanted to play it, you want to download Fortnite, go in there and mess around with Vader, it's not going to happen. So they've patched it already, and but a huge mistake. And I'm sure this is a lesson to a lot of game developers that may want to try this. Okay, hey, we have to put up safeguards. We've got to figure out what we can do to make sure this doesn't happen. But people will always test the boundaries. They will always push the boundaries, and the internet never loses. You can't forget that. The internet never loses. Always wins. You could say that. You could say that. It's so stupid. Anyway, So I want to cover a story, and I've talked to some people about this. I've sent some photos about this. I want to cover a story here in Tennessee. This is a story that has gotten a lot of traction, probably nationally, but I want to talk about it here because that's what I do. I talk about stories like this on my stream, and I want to bring it up. So I came across an article recently about kitchens closing. Kid Rock's Bar on Broadway, Honky Tonk Central on Broadway, a few bars on Broadway, let alone around our city, are sending their kitchen staffs home because they are worried about ICE presence and ICE hanging out and nabbing people, workers, after they leave their job. Now, I gotta say, if you're hiring workers who don't have a valid Social Security card, then that's on you. And there's tax implications involved with that, so maybe that's something that you might need to be investigated over. But I will say that here in Nashville, this is a big deal. And the reason this is a big deal is because there is a gas station, and it's not just on me. A lot of people have noticed this. There's a gas station that's not far from me. It's right down the road, around the corner. And I stop by there on a daily basis, whether it's on my way during the day, whether it's on my way home from work, afterwards. I stop by there pretty much on a daily basis. And I live in a very Hispanic area of Nashville. Now, in the last 25 years, it's just kind of converted over year by year, that very large presence. Up and down the main drag that's right around the corner from my house, there's a lot of taco trucks. There's a lot of businesses that have signage that's not in English. Okay, whatever. Whatever. However, in the last week or two, these places are empty. And I mean empty. The gas station that I stop off every day is usually full. There's no parking hardly at all. Morning, noon, and night. All day long. And it has been completely empty. And I mean completely empty for the last several days. And I find it fascinating because a lot of people would say, well, this is whatever your feelings may be about it. I want to show you a couple photos. I'll show you a couple photos of the parking lot of this place that I stop off at. I stop off at on my way home. Normally, this place is packed. Absolutely packed. And it is completely empty. And this is every day for the last several days. There's the taco truck that I get tacos from all the time. All the time. This gas station has activity from open to close. And this is what it's looked like for the past several days. Now, one would say, yep, people are scared to get out, and they probably are. But then you have to ask, well, why are people scared to get out? Are they scared to get out because they're illegal? Maybe they don't know when their green card expired or work visa expired. And I'll bring this up, and I bring this up because, again, I like to look at the different sides of the story. I bring this up because if I went to France or another country somewhere on a work visa, I would keep up when that visa expired, right? Like, I would make sure I knew when. I'd have an alarm set in my phone. I would keep up with it because I know that when that expires or gets close, I'm going to need to re-up it, or I'm going to need to do what I need to do to figure that out, that process. And so it's a tough thing. It's a thing where, you know, you talk to people and they say, hey, look, due process, right? Due process. Well, that's true. And I agree with due process. However, if I went to another country illegally, am I doing due process with that? Right? Am I following due process? Right? It's both sides of the coin. So, you know, am I following due process? Am I following what the law tells me I should do? And in Tennessee, you know, we have a large Hispanic population. We have a very large immigrant population from all over the place. And there's Walmarts you can go into where you may hear 10, 12 different languages being spoken. Very diverse in that aspect, especially in certain parts of town. Not every now. Let's not kid ourselves. They may try to tell you Nashville's a welcoming place. Not everywhere. All right. And the people who are in power here live in those places. So don't let them fool you into thinking they'll take in an immigrant family into their home and let them stay there. But it's interesting to see and go to places where I live that typically are extremely busy, and to see it be completely empty. Now, I don't know if you live in a place that's like that. I don't know if you've experienced that yourself. But, you know, it tells me that, yes, I am sure people are scared. I know our ICE came down here. They did like 500 traffic stops or something over a weekend. They got like 100 people detained. Some obviously, yes, are involved with gang activity and or here illegally. Some of them, you know, once they sort that out, they're, you know, and figure that all out, there's different levels, you know, they're kind of back reunited or whatever. But it is interesting. It's interesting because I've never really seen this before, where I see people that literally you go from an area that's just packed to nothing. And it almost was like it happened overnight. However, it's not like this just happened overnight. It had been talked about, you know, and had been discussed. And so it really is interesting, like it you know, to see it. And I've taken multiple pictures over multiple days. I've looked at the traffic. I've looked at like different businesses within the area, and it's all the same thing. And one business owner got interviewed in the newspaper down here, which is a shit newspaper. And she was talking about how, hey, if you know, don't know when your card expired, or you don't know when your you know, visa's up, or you don't know your status. If you don't know your status, reach out to this organization, this organization, this organization. And I read it and I thought about it and I was like, you know your status. Like, you know your status. I mean, it's just the truth of the matter. Let's not kid ourselves. Again, if I went to France, if I went to Canada, and they said you got 6 months to work, and then you need to go to the office, you need to renew your paperwork, or you've got to go back, and I decide to not do that, then I know my status, and I know what I'm doing, and I know where I'm at, and I know that if I get pulled over for running a stop sign or changing lanes illegally, which people say, oh, these are minor traffic violations. They're still traffic violations. You still have to take a test when you get a license. It may sound harsh. People don't like to hear that shit. It may sound harsh, but it's what we've set things up as. There are rules, there are laws, there are things set up as a system that you and I had to do when we got our license or got a job and went to get our Social Security card and have to show that when we want to apply for this or that or get a loan and whatever. It's a system that's been set up. So, it is what it is. So if you run a stop sign and you get a ticket, if you are technically, hey, here, let me see your license and registration. Well, if you don't have those things, then you can't do nothing about that. But if you do have those things, or you don't, and then you can't prove, or you give a fake name or a fake address, or all 6 people in the car give the same address, even though no one has identification, well, then that's a problem. If this happened to you, watching this right now, in another country, that's a problem. So we can cry and whine, and we can make all excuses, and we can talk about, that's harsh and this and that. Yes, there are different cases. There's political asylum, okay? We all understand that. There's a system set in place that has been set in place for a long time. And if that system is set in place to follow that system, and people decide to not follow the system because they're allowed to come over a border in hundreds of thousands, then it's hard for me to understand how people can be upset when you go, hey, it's time to go back home. What happens is the heart takes over the head, because you go, well, that person's working now. They've rented an apartment. They've got a place to stay. Their family stays there. Well, yeah, that's great. But it's all done under false pretenses. You can't pretend like it's not. So no matter what your opinion is about the process, the due process, if you didn't follow due process in the first place, do you expect due process to be followed when you get caught being somewhere that technically you're not supposed to be? Now, we could talk about countries' borders, and you should be able to travel freely across the world. It's just not that way. That's not how it works. That's not how this works. I can't just move to Canada. Canada doesn't want anybody from the United States anyway. To become a Canadian citizen is a long process. Very long process. So when you see these comedians, or you see these celebrities, I'm moving to Canada because Trump got elected. Well, guess what? That shit ain't happening. You know why? Because you're not going to become a Canadian citizen. You could visit for periods of time, but you got to go back. Now, if you're Rosie O'Donnell and you want to move to wherever the fuck you want, nobody wants Rosie O'Donnell here anyway, right? So who gives a shit? But my point is that, like, rules are made to be followed, not broken. At the same time, yes, cases are different. There are individual cases. But when you're dealing in the hundreds of thousands or millions, it's really hard to start going by individual basis to basis. Doesn't mean I don't have a heart. Doesn't mean I'm not compassionate. It's just that then you start taking in the fiduciary factors of the burden on the taxpayer, the burden on the healthcare system. Right? So then so the people who aren't legal, who don't pay taxes, are a burden on the people who do, like you and I. And we have to foot the bill for the emergency room visits. We have to foot the bill for the EBT. We have to, we foot the bill for a lot of stuff. And your auto insurance goes up, right? The cost of buying a car goes up. Like, there's so many factors, it's impossible for me to sit here and list them all. And maybe one day I'll make a whole list. So that way when somebody goes, well, you said auto insurance, but you didn't mention this, and that's not because of that. Okay, then I'll make a big old list, and we can go line item by line item about all the things that you end up paying for. Now, it's not just because of that. It's not just, your taxes don't go up. Property taxes, this and that. They don't go up because of that. Your taxes don't go up just because of somebody in the emergency room. I get that. I'm not stupid. But you can't cover every single thing in a stream. You can't cover every single thing in a conversation. But you understand what I'm saying. So if I went to Spain, if I went to Mexico, if I went to Australia, I can't just set up shop there. And if I do, and someone finds out that I did, what do you think is going to happen to me? going to get sent back home. Whether that sounds cruel or not is up to you to decide, but it's logical. And when we use our logical side, we understand when we take the emotion out of it, we take our hearts out of it, we take that part out of it, and we just look at it from a logistic and a logical standpoint. It's hard to deny, like, yeah, we got a problem. And it's been exacerbated from an administration that decided to do nothing about it. Now, we could talk all about tariffs, right? Because everybody's been talking about tariffs. We've all been mad about the tariffs. Toy collectors, tariffs. The extra $15 a month gonna kill me. Don't go to McDonald's. Don't go to Starbucks. But the whole idea, to tie this into a little bit of a thing here, which doesn't make a lot of sense, but just to tie it in, okay? The whole idea is just to get a conversation started, to get people to the bargaining table. Okay, the tariffs don't last forever. They're not going to last forever. Some of them will, right? They've always been there. Some of them. But it's bargaining. We need to set some standards here. We need to get people to the bargaining table. And I feel like a lot of what's going on right now with ICE and deportations is to get people to the bargaining table. We need Mexico to step up and stand up against cartels so that people don't want to flee Mexico. You know, stand up. Try to get your economy. Like, try to make it a place people want to live, because obviously people don't want to live there. Now, their laws might be harsher. Their jails might be shittier. So anybody and their mother would want to come here, right? And go to jail, even if they went to jail for 10 years. They live better than they would maybe at home, right? Like, that's that argument too. But what I mean when I was talking about the tariffs is that either way, it's about getting people to the table, to talk, to conversate, to come up with ideas and get a better system. But it's also about, in this case with ICE, and it's about, there are people here that shouldn't be here, and they know that. They know they shouldn't be here. And it's about trying to figure out who is and who isn't. And there will be cases that get sectioned out where people will say, yeah, you know what? In this case, let's make this happen, right? Let's do this. And I love when people always bring up, oh, could you pass an immigration test? Could you pass a U.S. Citizen test? And like, I don't know. But you know what? I'm not trying to go to France illegally and pass a citizen test in France. You see what I'm saying? Like, it's just not, you can't just make that argument. But I understand it. I understand why people say it. All right, here we go. Let's go to you. Yeah, Todd C. Todd C's in the house. What's up, Todd? They said they went to New York. Joe Knox says 10% of our country is illegals. Let that sink in. Assimilation. A lot of people say that. Assimilation. It's an invasion, not an assimilation. Giraffe's in the house. What's up, Giraffe? Frank Duman, what's up, Frank? I know this is a topic that a lot of people don't like. A lot of people don't want to talk about. They'll tune in, tune out. Right? I get it. I fully understand. But this is my Sunday night show. This is things I talk about. Sometimes they're hard discussions. I give you my opinion on it, and you are free to disagree, and you're free to maybe enlighten me and tell me why you feel the way that you feel, and maybe that will give me another opinion, another vantage point that I'm not seeing. That happens all the time, and I enjoy that. Matthew, rules for thee and not for me, 100%, especially when it comes to the politicians, especially when it comes to rich people who will go and argue and tell you this is the worst thing ever, but then their gardener and their maids are Hispanic or illegal, and they would never let those people rent a room or stay in their house. They must go home at the end of their shift. And they would never let a bus load full of immigrants come in and stay at their home or their compound. We all know that. Let's not kid ourselves. Stanley says the letter of the rule versus the spirit of the rule. And you're right. Could be two different things. Letter of the rule, spirit of the rule. And I say that all the time, Stanley. I bring that up all the time. I'm a big proponent of like, hey, I understand the spirit of what you're trying to say. But we have to look at the reality and the application. You know, the spirit of the DEI stuff in Hollywood is to be inclusive. The reality is you're being inclusive by excluding. It's you're being racist by trying to be inclusive, if that makes any sense. That's just one example. Yeah, a lot of people say, logic is racist and bigoted. Graph, 100%. If that extra money on tariffs is enough for you to not order your figures, but yet you go to McDonald's for lunch every day, or you go to Starbucks every morning on your way to work, well then make your own coffee, make your own lunch, you'll have your figures. It's as simple as that. I don't want to hear any other arguments. End all be all right there. Period. I'm all about that local bikini barista stand, my friend. I'm all about it. Martha's Vineyard was quick to use the National Guard to deport all those illegals. 100%, Johnny Reno. And you know exactly what I'm talking about. And I know some of you else are watching too. Do you remember when they bust the immigrants coming in up to Martha's Vineyard, up in the Northeast, and all the people were there, all the citizens, all the people that lived there were like, this is a travesty. We stand by these people. We stand with them. But then as soon as they could get them hell out of there, they would. And they did. Get on the next bus and take your ass to Tennessee. And that's exactly what they do. Heaven forbid. Now, they'll stand up for them. They'll stand up for their rights. They stand by them. They support them. They'll tweet and they'll keyboard warrior all day till the rubber meets the road. And they're like, oh, hell no, I don't want this person from Nigeria. I don't want this illegal staying in Malaysia. Get the fuck out of my town. They're the same. It's exactly. And don't let them try to pretend otherwise. And when you confront them on it, then they just cuss you out and call you names and call you a Nazi and all that shit. That's what they do. It's their playbook. Yeah, I don't like football, but I can get into lingerie football. I'm with you. I can get into both kinds. Look, it's a difficult conversation. I know a lot of people don't want to have it. Look, I've told you guys before. On Sunday nights, sometimes this shit I like to talk about. And I keep an open mind, but I also do have my views, and I'll express them. Kitchen's closed to avoid ice at Steve Smith's Broadway bar. Steve Smith is a big bar owner here in Nashville. He's a big name. He's been around for a long time. He's also has the same name as a crackhead neighbor who grew up across the street from me, and still a crackhead actually, and but not the same guy, because one is successful and the other one is a crackhead. So anyway. So these restaurants basically were telling their kitchen staff. Now let that sink in for a second. Let that sink in. You go to your kitchen staff, your dishwasher, your broil cook, your fry guy. You've hired them and you don't have any paperwork on them as a business. You don't have a social security card on file. You don't have a license on file, but you hired them anyway. And then you go to them and you tell them, hey, we're fearing for your safety. So I want to send you home because I don't want anybody to raid the place and pick you up. So you hired them illegally. So as a business, whether that's tax purposes, whether that's healthcare purposes, there's various different things about all of that. But you as a business hiring people that you can't verify who they are, and you're scared and you're telling them to go home and not come back. Are you paying them? So this guy, Steve Smith, says, we were already understaffed because ICE raids throughout the weekend. An employee who has to remain anonymous to avoid retaliation tells the Nashville Scene, which is a nothing website. Then around 9:30 on Saturday, our manager came back and told everyone without a legal status to go home. So why did he tell people without? He told people without legal status to go home. Why did he do that? How did you hire them? No one's bringing this up. No one's bringing this up. I guarantee you, if you question this, you will get berated and talk shit to. No one is bringing up the fact that you are employing people who don't have the proper paper. So how are you paying them then? Are you paying them in cash under the table? Are you paying them by a paycheck? How are they cashing the paycheck? Is the money you're paying them getting accounted for? Are you accounting for it on your taxes as a business, but then they aren't getting accounted for when they cash that check? You see what I'm saying? Like, and I'm not saying it to be cruel, but think about the millions of people who are getting paid, and you're out there paying your taxes every year. But I'm an asshole. State troopers and unmarked ICE vehicles dramatically increased nightly traffic stops on May 3rd in South Nashville, which is where I live, resulted in at least 196 arrests. 101 individuals with no criminal history. Now, this is where they love to point this out. Contradicting Trump administration claims that immigration enforcement has been targeted towards violent criminals. It doesn't mean it's not still targeted towards violent criminals. Again, however, if you are illegal, you're still illegal. Can we work this out? Can we get the paperwork? Can you fill out the proper paperwork and enter the country legally like you would any other country? If not, then let's figure that out, right? Less than half had any recorded criminal history at all, and only 4 had been previously involved in violent crime. The joint operations have drawn pushback from community groups. We've had protests here in town. People protesting. Look, those protests are okay, but you go protest like other things, right? If you're a conservative and you have violent people with masks on, wearing all black, shouting you down, trying to assault you, it's a totally different type of thing. What's allowed, what's not allowed. It says that community members and national immigrants who have continued to rally and organize against ICE. Lead Metro Attorney Wally Dietz recently told reporters that the city is powerless to stop immigration enforcement activity by the state and federal government. Yeah, because it's state and federal government. That's what it is. It's not up to you. It's not up to you. Now, I may sound like a complete asshole to some of you guys. And if you're going to be at Joe Fest and you meet me, when you leave Joe Fest, I want you to come back into the stream and I want you to tell me whether or not you think I'm an asshole or not. Because no matter what I think about this situation, whether I talk about it, whatever, I would dare anybody to sit there and just paint a broad brush and a blanket and say, yeah, that guy's an asshole. Do I think you should be in this country legally? Yes, I do. Do I think that you should go through the proper paperwork? Yes, I do, because there's things I have to do to go through proper paperwork. I got to renew my tags every fucking year. I got to renew my license every few years. Right? Like, I have to pay for my health care every month. I have to pay my child support every month. Right? Like, let me go through the list. Right? But I can guarantee you, none of this stuff will come up at Joe Fest. It just won't, because it's not part of that. And I'm not stupid. I'm not too stupid to understand that, like, it's not part of something like that. So if I see you there next month, I can promise you this conversation ain't gonna come up unless you bring it up, because I ain't gonna bring it up. But whenever I do streams, it's an opportunity to talk about stuff going on. So, but if I see you next month, I promise you, this stuff like this, anything political, probably not going to come up unless you bring it up. I can tell you, I'm going to be like, yo, what's up? And we talk about toys and shows and all that good stuff. So, but I do think this stuff is important. I think it's important to have a discourse about it. I think it's important to discuss it and talk about it. I think it's important to get views from different parts of the country. You may not know what's going on here in Tennessee. And I think it's important to get some of that information and have a first-person perspective. My perspective of pulling into that gas station, and it's completely empty. The taco shops, the taco trucks, all up and down one big stretch of road, very famous road in Nashville. Not Broadway, but secondary or main artery. It's empty. It's empty. You know, people are hiding out. They are. But they're probably hiding out because they know what their status is, not because they don't know what their status is. And that tells me everything I need to know about that situation. So, oh Lord, it just keeps getting better and better and better. Yeah, child support kicks your tail. Yeah, buddy, I hear you, buddy. Joe Fan wants to hang out at Joe Fest. Me too, my friend. Pretty sure those businesses still claim those payments as business expenses without paying payroll taxes. Probably right. They benefit from paying illegals under minimum wage and avoid payroll tax. Yeah, now, I don't know, Todd. Is that something that depends on the state? Is that something, obviously, with federal minimum wage that you're able to get away with under federal minimum wage? I mean, to my understanding, if you hire someone who doesn't have a real Social Security card, so it's a fake number, they don't have a real ID, then is that still, you know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? Like, can a business get away with that and be okay with that? You know, that's, I guess, my question, right? If you owned a business and you knew you were hiring illegals, is that just okay? You know, and is that like something that you could just brush under the table? I don't think so. I mean, I wouldn't imagine, right? Yeah, Joe Fan, meet as many people as you can. Just have a good time. All the conversation is going to be about all the shit you love. I promise you that. It's tough to be in business, though, so owners cut any corners they can. Yeah, no, I understand that. Trust me, I do. Yeah, it's not okay, but if you're paying someone cash, yeah, 100%. Yeah, if you're under the table, and we all know that, right? I mean, we all know that. If it's under the table, then anything goes, right? For sure. Yeah. So anyway, and yes, I know all about child services at the very least from the payment standpoint. I've never had any issues with them, not really. Graf says it's okay if they all look like they're Salma Hayek. Hey, listen, I can tell you that the public perception would be even more so in the favor if they all look like Salma Hayek. Let's not kid ourselves. Graf. Let's not kid ourselves. We know. Yeah, if your work cuts corners, Joe Fan, we can't control the thermostat at work, so we're burning up summer, freezing in winter. But I'd rather be cold so I can wear more and have space heaters. Well, now that's one way of cutting corners. Now, are they paying people under the table? That I don't know. And she's attractive to me. Selma's Hayeks, actually, are extremely attractive to me. Selma's Hayeks truly should be on Mount Rushmore, but both of them. All right. I'm gonna save this story for Matthew on Tuesday night. So I'm not gonna hit you guys with this one, but it is a story about gender neutral bathrooms and land acknowledgments. California's film diversity rules. I can't even believe I just read that headline. Gender neutral bathrooms and land acknowledgments. How California's film diversity rules will and won't change life on the set. You know, if I was a film company, if I was California, I'd be more worried about all the production companies leaving your state, taking millions and hundreds of millions of dollars worth of jobs with them to Tennessee and Georgia and the Carolinas and overseas, than I would worry about gender neutral fucking bathrooms and land acknowledgments. Get the fuck out of here. God damn. This is a headline. I mean, this is a joke. And I say this article to bring up, but I want to bring it up with Matthew because I want to get his take on this topic. And I know it's not something he just wholeheartedly, likes to dive into on Tuesday nights. But I do want to get his take on this topic because it's about ditching DEI commitments and reversal of like representation in theatrical films. But it's a story that a lot of us can read about and see how ridiculous it is. Like, totally how ridiculous it is. And I'd like to go over it with him on Tuesday night because this is something that's not going to make film sets in California any better by having gender neutral bathrooms. That's hard to say. And land acknowledgments on film sets. It's just a joke. I do have one video of a Mexican. How do I even say that? That sounds stupid. But of course, what we're talking about, just for fun, it's a Mexican ship that is on a voyage. A voyage, and this will be my last video for the night while I let you guys go. Before I let you guys go, I found this. This happened the other day, and this is quite fascinating to me. And I will read the description to y'all. It's dramatic footage of a Mexican Navy ship carrying 200 people in New York. 150-foot masts going under the Brooklyn Bridge. I'll just let you see. I'll just let you see it to believe it. I can't even. All right. Here you go. This is a Mexican Navy ship. Does Mexico have a big Navy? I don't know. Here you go. Oh my God. Oh, he just said what I said. Jinx, you owe me a Coke, you son of a bitch. Come on, fucking volume. Like, Jesus, like, how do you work?
It's totally
on
correct.
a full screen video?
Look.
That's
Oh my God.
truly amazing. truly amazing. Like, I can't even. Like, what the fuck are you supposed to do with the video? There you go. You gotta hold it. Anyway. Like, seriously. Like, look at. Did you not measure the masts? Did you not know how tall the masts were? Did you not plan this voyage out? Like, did you? I mean, come on, man. Seriously. I can't even. Shit. Tugboat wasn't paying attention, being backwards, right? Yeah. Excuse me, hit and run. That's a good burp. How did it get in the bay in the first place, right? To get towed out. And some people should stay away from tequila. You are correct, Graf. I can't believe it. Like, I honestly, I truly, I don't know how this happens. I really don't know how this happens. Sometimes the comments are better than the article. Let's see. Why didn't they stop knowing the bridge wasn't open? Yeah, I'd say it's a valid point. So crew members standing on the mast. So can you believe if you're up there on the mast? Would you not know? Would you not know that, like, you're getting ready to hit a bridge if you're on the masts? Do I see people on the masts? I don't know that I see masts. Tequila. Damn, that's pretty good. I don't even know that I see anybody on the mast. Is there somebody on the mast? Like, does somebody jump off of here? Oh shit! Is that somebody up there? You see my mouse? That's somebody up there. It can't be. No. No, that has to be. That's. Oh shit! Hang on. Let's watch this shit in slow motion. Oh my god, there is someone up there. Holy shit. There's a whole bunch of people up there. Oh my god. Yeah, tugboat towing it. So I didn't see that, right? So I just saw the video, but I am curious about people actually standing on the mast. And as you're nearing the Brooklyn Bridge, like, what's going through your head? What's going through your head at that moment? Like, damn, I'm kind of high up here. Like, that, I can see the cars. I can see the cars driving. Like, I can see. Jesus Christ. I don't see people jumping off, though. Unless they jumped in the water. Okay, hang on. Tide level. Yeah, I thought about that, Stanley. True, right? Tide level. I mean, maybe, the water obviously coming in. Maybe it's higher, so you miscalculate. But that's, how do you do that? Again, how do you do that? You know the tides. You research it. You make sure you know when you're leaving, or you're being even if you're being towed, right? The communication factor, the water level, the bridge, like, that's all has to be done in advance, right? Has to be. I don't see anybody. Shit. I don't see anybody jumping from the masts, though. So a report of people, like, hanging on for dear life. I mean, maybe they are. Maybe people down low. But look at this dude with the backpack running right here. He's running. He's like, oh, shit. He's like, nope, I ain't down with this, homie. Pull your pants up, bro. Well, maybe that's a long shirt. This is brutal. I mean, this is just brutal. Can you imagine the people on the bridge driving by and you just happen to look over and see like these lights and you're like, what the fuck? Look, people are stopping. There's some people stop. There has to be. Oh, it's rush hour traffic. Ooh, look at that shit. Oh, my gosh.
Oh my god.
What a disaster, folks. Just like this stream. What a disaster. Just like this stream. You never know what you're going to get week to week, right? All right. We're going to watch the Outback Staycation. The Outback Steak. Know what? No. We're going to end on the Outback Staycation. I got one more story I want to bring up. Caitlin Clark has taken over the WNBA by storm. Ladies and gentlemen, she is the new superstar in the WNBA. However, she committed a terrible personal foul on Angel Reese last night. And this has become a major race baiting story. Oh, yes. All the race baiters at ESPN are going nuts. All the people who are saying Caitlin Clark gets too much attention. She's terrible. And Angel Reese is a better player, even though Angel Reese is a bitch. And Caitlin Clark led off the season, I believe, with a triple-double in the WNBA. Now, I don't care about the WNBA, and Joe Fan, hang on, we're going to get to it. We're going to get to them stakes. It's a great commercial. We'll finish up on that. I want to show you this flagrant foul that caught so much attention in the WNBA. And Angel Reese got so upset at Caitlin Clark. As you can see right here, you can see Caitlin Clark moving in to guard her. Now, they blew out Angel Reese's team by like 50 points. But I want you to watch this foul. Watch this foul. It's hard foul. It's terrible, hard, racist foul.
Everyone in the arena had to know this foul was
Oh, no. Look at this. Oh, no. I mean, such a hard takedown. One more time. Oh, no. At least you got big booty to follow. Angel Reese got a big booty to follow. One more time. Here we go. And, oh, no. I mean, look, that's reminiscent of Dennis Rodman and Charles Barkley, in my opinion. Very reminiscent. And just as physical, in my opinion, if not more so, really. This has caused a huge thing. The player that got fouled, Angel Reese, got up and she said some words. The media has run with this. ESPN has decided to turn this into another race conversation, that white girl fouled black girl. And this is the talk of the town, which evidently is getting more play than the NBA, because nobody gives a shit about the NBA. I'm with you, Todd C. LeBron level flop. I mean, it's not even. I mean, come on, like seriously. Now I will tell you, and Grass says at the start of this clip, you can see Clark pointing. She's pointing at a ref, asking about a foul. Angel caused seconds before this. This is true. And then, obviously, she's not going to let her take an open shot at the basket. Now, is this hard? Is this I mean, look, she goes for the ball as Reese, who is heavier than Caitlin Clark, much heavier. The ball gets pulled out. And then Clark, her arm, Okay, Reese is grabbing her arm, as you can see right there. She grabs a hold of her arm at the bicep, just above the elbow, and then goes down. Clark probably pulling her arm back in disgust. She lands on her big old booty. Right there, you see a little booty shake. Look at that booty shake. Look at that booty shake. Booty shake. Booty shake. Booty shake. Booty shake. Damn. Booty shake, girl. We see booty shake. She gets right back up. Man, well, that tall girl right there, that ain't a warehouse. That's a brick house. No, it's a warehouse, actually, not a brick house. My bad. It's a warehouse. But anyway, so this is so lame. It's so weak. Oh no. But really though, what I want to talk about here is this frame. This frame right there. That frame. I mean, look at that. Look at that. Look at how that girth just comes down to the earth. I mean, look at that. That's not very flattering, is it? That's not very funny. All right. Labrana would be grabbing her head and saying she tore her Achilles and still played. That's when she knew she was the GOAT, right? Anyway, so that play is the talk of the town right now on ESPN. Reese's is falling to pieces. Thank you for that. That's wonderful. Okay, let's finish it up. Excuse me. With a wonderful commercial that I saw with Outback Steakhouse. This is for Ronnie Trickshot. Oh, yes, it is. This is for the one and only Ronnie Trickshot. Let's see. Make sure the volume is okay. The volume is okay. All right. And here we go. This is just a great commercial if I do say so myself.
Take a staycation at Outback Steakhouse with a Canberra chopped steak, an 18-ounce bone-in ribeye, or a bloomin' French onion sirloin. It's better than a staycation at home.
I thought this was a steakcation, not a staycation! Steak! Go away! I wish you were steak!
Me too. Your Outback Steakcation starts at $14.99 for a limited time.
Hello, denizens
Sorry.
of the internet.
Me too. I wish go away. I wish you were steak. The story of my life. Me too. Steak. I thought this was a staycation. I wish every staycation was a steakcation, which makes you want to go to Outback actually now. Too bad they're closed. Anyway, yep, Joe Fan, I'm with you, buddy. Yep, I love it. Love it, love it, love it. I thought it was hilarious. Oh, by the way, this guy on your screen right now is Paul Chato. He is a Canadian comedian, and I recommend you check out his channel. He's awesome. Paul Chato. Call me Chato. He's a former comedian. He actually was a former network TV executive in Canada, and he's got some interesting videos. So check him out if you want to know about his insights, man. He's a funny dude. He's an older cat, but he's been around the block and is a comedian, pretty well known in Canada and stuff. But he's got a good YouTube channel, so check it out. All right, so unfortunately, War Chest, you have rolled in right about the time that I'm wrapping up, my friend. It's kind of the end of the stream. Good couple and a half hours almost. But I've got some stories for Tuesday night, and me and Matthew will figure it out for Tuesday night. But yeah, man, we'll figure it out. Find out what Matthew wants to talk about for you guys. But yeah, so mainly that's about all I got, you crazy kids. I appreciate you hanging with me for a couple hours. I think I've gone over most everything I want to go over. So I will try to do better next Sunday. Yeah, Chato's good, man. Chato's good. More chess in the house. Yeah, I know, right, Todd C? Because God knows, man. Let's talk about tariffs. I almost let off with that, too. I almost let off with, hey, so speaking of tariffs, but we're all tired of that shit. We're all tired of it. It's a ploy to get people to the bargaining table. It's not going to last forever. Don't freak out. Don't get crazy. Don't go and get angry. It's not going to last forever. And like I said, toy companies, businesses they're going to be proactive. And if you like to get your toys from Big Bad, your BBTS, right, and you like to get them from other places, and they've added $2, again, if you buy 4 figures a month, that's $8 in tariff tax for you, then, cut out McDonald's for one day. Right? Like, don't buy the bottle of vodka or the bottle of whiskey for one night. Don't go to Wendy's. I mean, it's that simple. And I know people don't like to hear that. They don't want to hear that, but it's that simple. Now, if you're spending $400 or $500 a month on figures, and that extra $2 is considerably more, then I don't know what to tell you. But the reality is that we all have things we could cut back on. We all have things we could do without, even if it's just for one day to give you that extra money to cover that extra $2 to $3 a figure if you get 4 or 5 figures a month. Let's not kid ourselves. I know, again, people hate to hear it, but it's the truth. So, I mean, that's just how I feel about it. And look, stocking toilet paper, man. Are you in 2020 again? Joe Fan, look, it will work. The bargaining table has been set for sure. That's too bad you don't have a Wendy's near you. I like Wendy's. The only thing I like at Wendy's is a junior bacon cheeseburger, though. That's it. That's all I ever get. And some fries. I don't try anything else. Nothing different. And see, Grant brings up a good point, because I brought this up too. We want to talk about the tariffs. We want to get mad about it. We want to get pissed off. But we don't get pissed off that China uses like slave labor that pays people pennies on the dollar in shitty conditions. They work in shitty conditions, but we're A-okay to buy the Nikes. We're A-okay to buy the Apple phones. We're A-okay to buy diamond rings, engagement rings. We're A-okay to buy video games. We're A-okay to buy everything that's made somewhere cheaper. And people go, oh, well, you can't bring that shit back to the United States because the cost is going to go way up. It's crazy. It's out of control. But you're okay with paying for inhumane human rights conditions from some countries because you don't want it to affect your toy prices or your goods prices. I mean, not just toys, just goods in general. So, like, where do you draw the line on your morality, right? Like, where do we draw the line on our morality? Where do we draw the line on what is okay and isn't okay? Is it not okay when it doesn't affect us, but when if we get our shit, then it's A-okay, it's fine, no big deal, as long as we get what we want? right? You know what I mean? Like, and again, these are things a lot of people don't like to hear. They don't like to talk about. They don't want to hear it, you know? But it's reality. I mean, it makes sense, right? You know, and everyone complains about slave cheap labor making crap in non-regulated factories until Orange Man tries to even the playing field. That's what I mean. As soon as you bring him into the equation, everybody has a heart attack and freaks the fuck out. Don't mention him. Keep everything quiet on the hush hush. Who cares? As long as I get my Spider-Man Ultimate, right? And it doesn't go up from 50 to 55. Or, you know, just whatever. I mean, it doesn't even matter. It's just whatever, you know? I mean, whether it's phones, whether it's clothing, you know, LeBron James, he's all about DEI. He's all about, in this country, it's racist, and he's, you know, in favor of you know, supporting small businesses that are owned by minorities and the underprivileged and underserved and all that. But if LeBron James really wanted to make a statement, he would say, Nike, I'm not going to wear these shoes until you stop making them in China. If LeBron James truly wanted to make a difference when it comes to human rights and actually stand up for real shit and not fake shit in this country, then he would say, I'm not going to wear the latest LeBrons until we stop making our shoes using child labor and paying people pennies a day in substandard human rights conditions. But he won't do that. Why would he do that? I saw a video of a 9-year-old kid that works at a factory in China for 25 cents a day to help his family eat. Right. It's not unusual. They have concentration camps over there. Like, I mean, come on. Like, do we really want to go down that road when this conversation comes up and I see people get all upset about it and talk about, you know, oh, woe is me, $2 a thing, you know, extra $5 a thing, you know, woe is me, how am I going to be able to do it? I can't make my review videos. Right? What are we really talking about here? Yeah. Todd. Yeah. Speaking of which, okay, I'll share a story with you guys before I get out of here. I'm not totally ready to bail out. I do have, let's see here if I can find it real quick. I hope I didn't delete it. If I did, I can find it again. But I'm going to share this story with you guys because I think it bears talking about. Come on. It's possible I did, but I'm going to look it up real quick. So if you are a video game enthusiast, if you like to play video games, I found a discussion in PC Gamer. And if you don't know anything about AI and you don't really know a lot about technology and GPUs, which is your video card in your computer, the better video card you have, the higher graphic fidelity you can play video games on. You can also do other things like multitasking while you're making videos, editing videos, and shit like that. So one U.S. politician wants to add trackers to NVIDIA's GPUs so they can be bricked if they go to China. China has been stocking up on video game cards, okay, they're called GPUs, from PCs, because they're stripping them of their parts and basically turning them into high-powered AI tools. So, the United States actually did ban sending NVIDIA GPUs to China because there's pictures of them literally in stacks of video cards, stacked, being stripped of their purpose which is to play video games or multitask, making videos and editing, multitasking, whatever, and being repurposed for AI and AI only and other things of that purpose. So, one politician wants to add trackers so they can brick them if they go to China. All right, so it says such remote tracking and disablement might actually be on the cards if a bill planned by a Democrat representative comes into effect. The bill would have AI chips like NVIDIA's be made in such a way that the country could keep a rough track of where they end up and potentially even prevent them from booting if they're tracked to a restricted country. Okay? It says that the technology for such tracking, even if not the disablement, already exists, and much of it is already built into the NVIDIA chips. Independent technical experts that Reuters interviewed, agree, even though the news agency reminds us that NVIDIA has publicly said it cannot track its products after they are sold. There's supposedly already some bipartisan support for this bill. Hey, left and right working together. This is a big deal that you should pay attention to because the RTX 4090, which is a GPU I would love to have so I could play at ultra settings on my PC and have ray tracing and all the illumination, global illumination and water density and reflections and all that stuff. Love to have that. I have a decent PC. It ain't nothing like having a 4090. But these powerful GPUs are being stripped and they're being used for AI. And if you think China is going to use AI to make movies, you got another thing coming. It says, despite NVIDIA's pleas for the country to accelerate the diffusion of American AI technology around the world, it seems unlikely the U.S. will ease up on restrictions. This will, of course, eat into the company's profits. First quarter results are expected to include up to approximately $5.5 billion of charges associated with H2O products for inventory, purchase commitments, and retail or related reserves. We've already seen that restricted chips have ended up in China's hands, a fact that might, for instance, already cost TSMC over $1 billion after one of its chips was found in a Hawaii processor. And when NVIDIA is saying that China is right behind us in the AI race, it's no wonder U.S. lawmakers are concerned. Proposing tracking as a solution to the problem apparently mean having the chips communicate with a server that measures how long it takes for the signal to travel back to it, then would give the U.S. a rough idea of where the chip is. Now, some people may look at this and say, "Hey, I don't want my GPU. Like, I don't want you to track me." They're tracking you with your ISP address anyway, right? Like, it doesn't matter. So it's interesting because while the company may suffer, China is using these chips for AI purposes, and to say that they just have, angel wings on is pretty disingenuous. Let's see here. Steak wakes people the F up. I agree, especially like that chick. She just hopped up and Todd, see, China traded cheap labor for technology. That's right. He says they won that trade for sure. Mattel, Hasbro, Graph says, and Amazon teaming up with that organization to say Christmas is at risk is a joke. F them. Yes. Yeah, when I thought I was done. We're going for one more hour. No, we're not. Starting to lose my voice. I'm kind of super hungry, too. Just don't have the balls to cook a steak right now, although it feels wonderful outside. Will these work in my Commodore 64? Yeah, no. Howdy, Reno. Yeah, the Toy Association. Yeah, need to look that up. Okay, anyway, so look, that's all I got for you guys. Listen, I need to get out of here. 2.5 hours. My voice is starting to go. I had to talk all day long and all last night. As a bartender, unfortunately, it's a byproduct of the job, although I love it. When it's real busy, got to grease these pipes, baby. Let's see here. U.S. runs on slave labor working in sweatshops. But I'm being honest, I work for pennies to make He-Man, and I'm sure that you would pay someone pennies to make He-Man, right? Look, I don't stay in shape, friends. Let's not kid ourselves. And then I did see this too. Punk may have it on his docket tomorrow. You know what? Obviously, we all know you got Punk with his Monday night ramblings tomorrow night. So you guys tune into that. I'll probably jump in when I get out of work, but I've got to cover for my manager and do inventory. So it'll be dodge and go, touch and go. But anyway, so that's it. Tuesday night, Matthew Madsen at 9 p.m. Evening Blend right here on this channel. We'll bring some more stories and try to come up with something interesting if you guys want to tune in and listen to us ramble a little bit. I do have a guy that I met that's in the VFX business that's working on something right now for HBO. I'm trying to line him up for an interview, talk about VFX and all the ins and outs of that. Could be a pretty fun interview or show if he'd like to, as I've been chopping it up with him at work when he's come in. So we'll see, hopefully. But anyway, so look, until Tuesday night, Evening Blend, I'm Pop Blender. Love y'all. Thanks for hanging out. I really do appreciate it. Especially week after week and whatever. I always say it, but I really do appreciate y'all, and I am going to sign out and rest these pipes and finish watching this 6-hour review of Andor episodes 10 through 12, because that's what I like to do. Anyway, thanks, y'all. Really, I do appreciate it. And I'm going to end it as I always do with my boy.
So long, gay boys.